If you've lived in the United States for many years without legal status and you're wondering what options you have to fix your status, then this video is for you. Hello everyone, I'm attorney Lee Marvin and I have been practicing law for over 22 years with a focus in immigration law for the last 11 years. My main office is in Grand Rapids, Michigan, but I help individuals and families from any state in the country and really any country on the planet. So, you want to know what options you might have given the administration, the current administration, and the things that are going on, if there's any options for you, okay? So stick around for a couple minutes so I can explain this to you, okay? Living in the United States without legal status has been a problem since the beginning of immigration, okay? Every president, it's not easy. The regulations and the rules are always there, but sometimes you get a president that comes along and becomes very strict on immigration. And no doubt you all have seen the news. You know that that is the current situation that we have, okay? So the Trump administration, in particular, this Trump administration is a bit more harsh, I could say, than even the last Trump administration. Right? Definitely more than Biden, okay? So things are being enforced like crazy, okay? So everyone knows of the new alien registration requirement that requires everybody, if you don't have legal status, if you enter without legal status, you have to register with immigration, or once you're discovered, there's consequences, okay? So that requirement is there and it is definitely being enforced. I think that it's going to be very strictly enforced in the coming months because it is a live requirement right now. So many people are wondering, okay, what options? I'm sick of dealing with all this pressure. What options do I have? Okay, well, I can't tell you all the options here. That's what I have consultations for, to help guide people through the process. But I can give you 3 examples right here, right now, of things that you might not have thought about, or maybe you just need a little bit more information about them, okay? So the following are things that I was thinking of that my clients are using in order to move forward, both to deal with this alien registration requirement and just to get legalization, to get work permit, to get a green card eventually, okay? The first one applies to parents of U.S. citizen children, and that's filing for the green card process, okay? So there's a high chance of success for those who entered with some sort of visa, okay? So you can be sponsored by your child who's older than 21 for a green card, but everything comes down to how you entered. If you entered with a visa, even if it was 25 years ago, chances are very good that you are going to be able to obtain legal permanent residency. I've helped lots of clients do it. So that's your first option, and that's for parents of U.S. citizen children over the age of 21, okay? The second example applies to both parents and spouses of U.S. citizens that did not enter with a visa, okay? And that is the waiver, okay? Specifically, the 601A waiver applies to those people who entered without legal status that are now married to a U.S. citizen, or their adult child or spouse is sponsoring them for a green card, and that unlawful entry now requires you to leave the country to do your interview, okay? That is what the 601A waiver, it's also called the provisional waiver, is all about. Because what happens is you file the request, and it's a provisional waiver, but it's also a hardship waiver. Hardship means that the sponsor, whether it's a spouse, usually it's a spouse, or it could be a parent, cannot be a child who sponsors a parent to move forward with a green card cannot also qualify for the waiver. So that's a very important thing to know about. But for spouses or parents sponsoring their children, you can qualify for this waiver. And what is the hardship is all about? What is the hardship to the actual sponsor? And what that means is you have to convince the government, show them how the sponsor, who is either a U.S. citizen or a legal permanent resident, is going to suffer if this approval is not granted or approved, okay? They don't give them away. So they are a bit challenging, but the point of it is to show the government the suffering or the hardship that the U.S. citizen or legal resident is going to suffer if the immigrant or the beneficiary is not granted this waiver. If it works the way it's supposed to, the government approves the request, and then you move on with the process with setting up your interview in your home country of birth. To do the interview, you leave, and automatically you have a 10-year bar, but the waiver eliminates that bar. That's the point of the waiver. You eliminate any bars to reentry based on your original unlawful entry and staying in the United States without legal status, okay? So that's the second approach. The third applies to both parents and spouses of U.S. citizens who happen to be in the military. So the U.S. citizen, it could be a legal permanent resident. No, it can't, because the military no longer allows legal permanent residents to serve in the military. So military parole in place is what I'm talking about. So that's spouses or parents of U.S. citizens who happen to be in the military. It's an amazing program, and unlike the waiver, which the waiver is more complicated and more costly, the military parole in place says, okay, it's a humanitarian-based request for the benefit of the U.S. citizen military service member. And what it says is there is a humanitarian need, kind of a hardship for that service member, that this approval would allow their family member to remain in the United States. You don't have to leave the country for your interview. You do your interview in the United States because you're paroled. Paroled means that you have the government sign off and approval to remain in the country, okay? So that parole allows you to do it in the country, parole in place, meaning in the United States, and to move forward with your green card interview without having to leave and get a 10-year bar and have to do a waiver. It's hugely popular. I've done it for a lot of clients. It works, right? It's absolutely incredible. It's like magic how it works, okay? So the key is proof of a relationship with the U.S. citizen service member, okay? And that could be the Army, Navy, Marine Corps, the Air Force, even the Coast Guard. It's for military service members, whether they're actively serving or if they've previously served. So it's very special because you don't have to currently be serving. It can even be after the fact, okay? So proving the valid relationship with that person, proving that the person has current or prior military service, proof of the humanitarian need, because again, they don't just give it away to you. The humanitarian need could be a lot of different things, but the humanitarian need applies to the service member, not to the immigrant who wants the benefit of it. It's to the service member, okay? So a little bit complicated, a little bit more than what this video is going to talk about. I do have a video on my YouTube channel about military parole in place, so check out my channel for that. Or you can schedule a consultation by clicking the link or giving us a call, okay? The other key with this military parole in place is that you do not have to show legal entry, right? Because people can enter legally and then go out of status, but this particular process even applies to those who enter without legal status or without a legal entry, okay? So that's huge, okay? Yeah, I told you the interviews in the United States, and the other part of it is it requires sponsors petition, okay? So it's not just, hey, military parole in place, which is great because you can do that and get that approval and also get a work permit. But if you don't have all this done at the right time, you cannot use it to get a green card. So you've got to have an active petition filed so that you can actually move forward with the green card. So timing is everything, okay? And I actually explained that in my longer video on military parole in place. But again, if you have a consultation, I'll explain all this to you. But the key is to really do both if you can. If not, it's just the military parole in place, which gives you the status of the parole in place and work authorization rights, but you can't actually get your green card because unless you file for that petition doesn't exist, okay? You get what I'm saying. So again, reach out to me individually. I can explain all this to you. I can help you with all three of these processes that I explained. They're great processes, and those processes would also fulfill the need or the obligation for the alien registration requirement. So if you do one of these three, you don't have to do the alien registration, okay? If not, definitely do the registration, because if you don't, you're going to have even more issues moving forward in the future, and you're just inviting this current administration to take notice of you and to penalize you for not registering. So don't forget about that. I did a video on that too, but also check out USCIS website that talks about the registration requirements, but check out my video. It's easier to understand, and if you have questions, you can reach out to me. So, as always, thank you for your time, and stay informed and stay safe.